And we could see that all that was in there. So Rick Scott stepped up to the plate, a personal expense, to be able to fight for us, and we really appreciate that. With that, that has made the driving force for him to want to step forward to make a difference for the state of Florida and to be able to run for governor of the state of Florida. Fiscal responsibility and being able to protect the state of Florida. So, ladies and gentlemen, I would love to be able to introduce to you Mr. Rick Scott.
Karen. Thank you. Karen. Take it back.
Thank you.
Give that to him.
Give this up?
Yes.
I'm going to switch with you.
Okay.
There you go.
Can everybody hear me? Yeah. First off, thank you very much for the invitation tonight. It's totally different to be in business versus running for office. So it's a brand new experience for me. The first question everybody asks me is why I'm doing this. Most people think I'm crazy, especially my friends. The reason I'm doing this is I'm fed up with where the country's going. Washington's a mess. As you know, I spent the last year and a half fighting Obamacare, but the state's a mess. 40+% of our homeowners are underwater on their mortgages, and there's no fix in sight. We have the highest unemployment on record in the state of Florida, and there's no solutions that anybody's coming up with. Every year they have a difficult time balancing the budget, and special interests are always there in Tallahassee dealing with our budget. So we can't keep doing exactly the same thing we've been doing. We elect the exact same type of politicians, and we have the exact same policies, and they don't work. So I believe it's time to have a big change. I believe we need a conservative outsider. I believe we need to have somebody that's run businesses before. My background is I've done a lot of the jobs that nobody likes. I sold TV guides when they were sold door to door when I was under 10. I delivered newspapers for a penny a copy. I cleaned telephone booths with my mom. I worked in grocery stores. I enlisted in the United States Navy. And when I tested out of one class while I was in the Navy, they sent me to the mess decks for 90 days. So I walked in through the kitchen, and that job I had for 90 days, cleaning the floor, swabbing the decks, and doing all that stuff. I know what it's like to get started, how difficult it is. At 21, I bought my first business, which is a donut shop. I can tell you one good story. If you've ever had a donut shop, you can give your employees all the free donuts they want, because after the second day, they won't eat them. There's too much sugar, so it's one way to save. There's no stealing of donuts, I can tell you that, after the second day that they work there. I've done everything from start business from scratch to buy companies. I built the largest hospital company in the country. I had 285,000 employees, which I think was about, at one time, 1 of every 400 people in America had a job work there. So I know the difficulty of dealing with all the regulation as a small business person, as a large company. I know I've dealt with all the difficulties of trying to get people to do things the way you like them to do it, and it's hard. I've lived the American dream. I've had a lot of success, and I've had setbacks. And what I like about being in business is you've got accountability. You know, whatever happens, you're accountable. You suffer the consequences of what happens. I believe we need to bring accountability to government. So I believe we need to elect somebody that knows how to create private sector jobs. I don't know if you saw the report 2 days ago. We have the lowest percentage of private sector wages in the history of this country right now. I think it's something down under 45% is private sector wages now. We need to elect somebody that knows how to create private sector jobs, knows how to balance budgets, because the first 10 rules of business is don't run out of cash. I know how to hold people accountable. I got an entrepreneurship award a few years ago, and most people, when they get these awards, they say the most important thing, you're supposed to talk about passion for the business and those things. That's absolutely true. But if you don't know how to get results by holding people accountable, you can never succeed in business. And it's not the most fun thing to do, but you have to do it. So that's what I bring to the table. I bring to the table all the successes and the setbacks I've had. The things that I will do as governor, the first thing I'll do is I'll have accountability budgeting. The same thing you would do in a company. You say, what are we doing, right? And how do we set a goal, measure that goal to make sure it happens? We'll have measurable goals that are going to be outcome oriented. They're going to be, if we have a program that's supposed to do something, it'll have the specific goals of what it's going to do. It's not a jobs program. We will do everything we can to control the state budget. But going back to accountability budgeting, what I'll do is take every agency, we'll set measurable goals, we'll set those goals out, and we'll measure them on a daily basis. In business, what you do is you set a goal, and the way you get there every day is you measure it constantly. You measure it every day. Then at the end of a quarter, the end of the month, the end of the week, whatever, end of the day, you know whether you're doing it or not. Do the same thing in government. We'll make sure we control government spending, make sure we don't waste any dollars. One of the first things I'll do is support an Arizona immigration bill. We have to secure our borders. We need to make sure that we have legal immigration. We need to make sure employers know if they're hiring a legal or illegal immigrant. If you're violating the law in this country, you should be asked if you're legal or not, and if you're not, you should be deported. We are a country of laws, and we need to enforce our laws. I don't believe that the government is the answer for everything. I believe individuals are the answer. I believe that individuals are way more important than government. I believe in limited government. I don't want to lose our freedoms. I don't want to have the federal government tell our states what to do. I'll defend the state of Florida and our rights as Floridians. I'm a conservative outsider. This is going to be a very tough race. I upset the apple cart. I'm not tied to a special interest. Special interests don't have any hooks in me. The establishment doesn't want me to win. They want the status quo. They've survived on the status quo. So I'm going to bring something dramatically different to politics. It's not a job I need. I've done fine without this, but it's absolutely what I'm committed to doing. So the first speech I ever gave in my life, I used a quote from Peter Drucker, and it said, "The best way to predict the future is to create it." This is our opportunity. America has awakened. We know that the fiscal irresponsibility of the government is a death knell for us. It doesn't work. We can't create a country of dependence. We need to stand up, and I'm going to do that. I'm going to lead. I'm going to focus on how we can build jobs. My wife and I sponsored a healthcare project over in Africa a few years ago, and after 4 years of sponsoring it, I came to the conclusion the most important thing for everybody was a job. It doesn't solve all ills, but it solves a lot of problems. And so my focus is going to be, how do we build private sector jobs in the state? How do we make this the state that people want to start their companies, they want to grow their companies, and they want to move their companies here? And the way you do that is you control government spending. If you look at history, states that have lower government spending as a percentage of state GDP, jobs grow faster than other states that have higher. Florida has the opportunity to be the leader in the country. We clearly, if we do the right things and solve the education issues, the healthcare issues, the immigration issues, we can be the lead and help and push the country in the right direction. And that's what I intend to do. So I thank you very much for the opportunity to be here. I know I'm going to take some questions, but thank you very much, and I hope I can get some of your support tonight. Thank you very much.